Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I'm taking you back in time, but only a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We are going back in time to Huddersfield Regional. Now, this was a regional for which I put a couple games up about a month ago. We got all the way up to the top 8. Now, the top 4 has been lost, but I present to you today the final of Huddersfield Regional. Long story short, I didn't get the file till a little while ago, so it is going up a little bit later. It is clearly marked in the description, and if you look at the description, you can see links to, I think it's something like 7 rounds and the top 8. So have a look in the description. If you haven't seen the Huddersfield Regionals games, I highly, highly recommend you go and check them out before this one. We have a very interesting game here between two very good players. We are at the final of a very big regional. This was shortly after the new format. This was the first regional in the new format. We do have Ancient Origins. We do not have Breakthrough. So we're in standard format. We are going from X and Y through to Ancient Origins, and we are in best of 3 in the final of Huddersfield Regionals, featuring a player who was in the top 32 of Worlds last year, and another player who has been to Worlds on more than one occasion. I think it's quite a doozy matchup, and I hope you will too. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we've got Patrick Rati on the left. I want to say a Finnish player, European player, very good player. He's going to be playing Vespiquen with all kinds of fun stuff like Bronzong and all of that. And on the right, we have Adam Hawkins, and he's going to be playing Sceptile. I think they're two very interesting decks, and I will, of course, go through both of these decks as we go through this game. So it looks like Adam is going first, and on his first turn, he plays a Trainer's Mail, and he gets a Super Scoop Up. Not particularly useful now, but maybe he'll play a Shaymini X in a minute and be able to reuse it. Before then, he plays a Hooper EX. Now, that's the one that's got the awesome ability that allows you to search for free EX Pokemon and put them into your hand. So here he's already gone for one Sceptile, and one would assume that he's going to be going for, I was going to say a second Sceptile, and presumably a Shaymin to allow him to draw more cards. Although it looks like he's just gone for a couple of Sceptile. I'm not entirely sure. He's even actually gone for, I'm not 100% sure he's actually gone for the Mega either. Now, he does have a Spinnerack in the active position. What the Spinnerack does is, to be honest, he evolves. He evolves into Ariados, and we see a, I believe that's a Sycamore. Yes, we see a Sycamore coming down. There is a Spirit Link on the Sceptile, and on both Sceptiles, in fact. And a Grass Energy. And there's your explanation for why Adam didn't go and get the Mega from the Sycamore. Yes, he could have got the Mega, or he could have got a Shaymin, but he knew he was going to Sycamore straight away, and why search for cards that you're going to Sycamore straight away? So a nice little play there from Adam. So Patrick straight away, he's got an Unknown on the bench, he's got a what looks like a Combee on the bench with a DCE attached, and I think I saw it was a Zubat in the active position. Now, Patrick's deck is a weird one. He plays the Bronzong, so he's not too reliant on double colorless energy as some of these Vespiquen lists can be. He also plays Bats, which can really help in the prize trades. We see a Shaymin come there to draw more cards. Quite a bit of glare on Patrick's side of the field, but I'm going to try and keep you up to date with exactly what's going on. But it's a very weird kind of list. It's incredibly Pokemon heavy, and it is prone to have hands full of Pokemon who just plain, hands that you can't use particularly easily. So we do see a Super Scoop Up there. The Ariados comes back into his hand, and that is the Sceptile now for 2 energy. Now, he's only got 1. He does Sleep Poison, 10 damage, if head, sleep, and poison, just like we've seen many a time before. And Unseen Claw, 60 damage, 130 if they're affected by a special condition. And of course, the Ariados, if it comes out, will poison both active Pokemon. Unless, of course, they're grass, i.e. it won't poison Sceptile, but it will poison the Zubat. And then it will do 130 damage. But we see the Mega coming out instead there. The Mega for 2 energy does 100 damage. and you can attach up to 2 basic grass to your bench Pokemon in any way that you like. If you attach energy to any Pokemon, you heal all the damage done to them. Patrick is going to have to be one-hit KOing a Mega Sceptile EX here in order to win, and that's going to be very difficult to do. Although he has sent me his list in the past, he's playing something like 30 Pokemon in this list, so it's doable. Now, Adam has already played a Sycamore this turn. He drops a Hex Maniac and a Lysandra with an Ultra Ball. Remember, he's going to be able to get them back with the S-Seeker later on, and he drops a Shaman to draw himself some more cards. Now, it looks like he only had 1 grass energy in hand, so that's what he did. Although I suppose he could just choose to attach 1 if he, maybe he wants to save 1 in his hand to try and heal next turn. What he's got is 1 Mega Sceptile ready to go and another one on the bench. So if Patrick were to do, even as much as 210 damage to this Mega Sceptile EX, then Adam would just be able to Super Scoop up, put the Sceptile on the bench, and then heal it by attaching energy. Or, in fact, just retreat it, discarding 2 energy, then attack with the other Mega Sceptile, attach another 2 energy to it, and heal it when you attach the energy. And you can really cycle Mega Sceptiles here. Yes, if you... Oh, it looks like we've got a VS Seeker coming down for a Sycamore here. Oh, getting rid of 2 VS Seekers with 1 Sycamore is far from ideal, but sometimes needs must. He needs to get Pokemon in the discard. And this is the advantage Adam's got in this matchup. Either he can use Super Scoop Up to heal the Sceptile, or he can just retreat the Sceptile manually, discard the 2 energy attached to it, and then reattach energy when he attacks with a second Mega Sceptile, because you do 100 damage and get to attach 2 energy to your bench, and in doing so, he also gets to heal. Now, sometimes the Mega Sceptile can run into a little bit of bother, in that he's only doing 100 damage per turn, and you're not even generally using Muscle Band here, because you need the Spirit Link, but that's not a problem in this matchup, because Patrick is attacking with 90 HP Vespiquen as his only kind of big attacker. Now, he does have the opportunity to go ahead and, he has the opportunity to attack with a Crobat that has 130 damage, 130 HP, but then he's sniping for 30 damage. There's no Muscle Band in Patrick's deck, if I remember correctly. It's very bare bones, as many Pokemon as he can get. 4 Sycamore, 4 VS Seeker, 4 Battle Compressor, and then just a whole big bunch of Pokemon. Oh, and obviously 4 Ultra Ball. So he retreats there into, I believe that's a Druddigon. Now, this is a Pokemon that for 1 double colorless energy will hit for 90 damage if you have used, if you had a Pokemon KO'd by damage the previous turn. Now, we saw a VS Seeker come down from Adam there for a Lysandra, pulls up the Vespiquen with the double colorless energy attached, and he's going to get his second KO, because he got the KO on the Zubat in turn 1. And this is what Adam's going to aim to do in this game. Just run through those weak non-EXs with Mega Sceptile, taking 6 prizes in 6 turns while playing Prize Denial. And it looks like something which is going to be a valid plan at this stage. It does look like it's going to be a valid plan because, well, what else? Essentially, you need to think, what is Patrick going to do to stop him? I've laid out how Adam's going to try and win this game. So then you start thinking, what's Patrick going to do to stop him? And the answer is, his only real plan is to just dump Pokemon in the discard as fast as he can, be one-hit KOing with his Vespiquen, and he's sorted. It looks like we've got a Sacred Ash coming down there, recycling a whole bunch of Pokemon back into his deck. No, sorry, that was a Battle Compressor discarding energy from his deck to build up, to do more damage. But he's got to try and get, his 20 damage plus Pokemon in the discard. Now, obviously, he can use Golbat and Crobat to do more damage. But without using their abilities, you need 20 Pokemon in the discard. Now, that's doable, as we see a Sycamore coming down. And that looked like it might have been a third VS Seeker, which means his final VS Seeker is in his hand here. And that is quite worrying. Now, he does get the Bronzong out. That means that he's now less reliant on double colourless energy, which is quite the bonus for him. Now, and we see Shaman doing 30 damage. What he's really doing there is getting Shaman off the field. Yes, Mega Sceptile hits for 100 damage, but Adam could use a Lysandra, bring the Shaman into the active, evolve the Spinarak into Ariados, poison the Shaman, and then that would essentially be 110 damage. Now, that escape rope there is incredibly useful because it means he's either going to KO the Bronzong or the Combee or the Vespiquen, all things that Patrick desperately needs to keep alive. That's why the Druddigan was the sacrificial lamb in the active position. So it's looking very, very good for Adam at this stage. Patrick will need to just try and dump 20 Pokemon in the discard, get those one-hit KOs, and it really is, can he dump those Pokemon as fast as he can? If we look at the way this game's gone, I know he's down to one VS Seeker here. In fact, I'm fairly sure, I should say. And we've seen a couple of Vespiquen go down. We've seen a couple of DCE go down. So, or at least one DCE. He's running out of options. Now, maybe he KOs this Sceptile, he KOs another Sceptile, and then he's back in the game. But he's going to need to be doing 220 damage 2 turns in a row. He's lost his Bronzong as well, and the key with Bronzong is it allows you to attach an energy from the discard and then a single from the hand, or if you get 2 Bronzong out, 2 from the discard, and that reduces your reliance on double colourless energy. Now, we saw a Professor Birch coming down from Adam there. He flipped heads, so he gets to shuffle his hand in and draw 7 cards rather than 4. The one thing Adam needs to be careful of here is that even now, he's only going to have taken 3 prizes. Patrick has got no EXs on the field, so Adam is going to need 3 more KOs in order to take the win. It is not outside the realm of possibility that Patrick gets a Vespiquen going this turn, KOs the Sceptile, gets one going next turn, KOs the next Sceptile, and then he will have the opportunity to win, because at that point it'll be his turn, he'll be on 2 prizes, and Adam will be down to 1. However, of course, we know that he's running out of VS Seeker, and that could well come back to haunt him. Having said that, that plan relies on Patrick being able to stream Vespiquen and energy and having enough Pokemon in the discard. So we see here Adam getting a 3rd Sceptile down with an energy just in case. Just in case the 2 he's got out aren't enough. Now, we do see the Vespiquen, we do see the DCE. One downside of Patrick's deck here is that he's not playing Forest of Giant Plants. He's, like I've said, it's the most bare-bone list he can get. I played him round 1, and I had a good chat with him. Even he was kind enough to send me his list after the tournament, so I have seen his list. He's going for how many Pokemon can I jam into one deck. That's his goal. He wants to put as many Pokemon into a deck as he can, because that's what his deck does. It piles Pokemon in the discard and then smashes. The downside of that is he's not playing things like Forest of Giant Plants. So not only does he need to have a Vespiquen in the active every turn, he needs to have a Combee on the bench ready to evolve into a Vespiquen. And that's very important. So, oh, the Ariados has come down. Ariados, like I've said, it poisons both the actives unless they're grass. It's not doing a huge amount of good here, of course, because Patrick's got a Vespiquen in the active. What is a grass Pokemon? And Adam has got a Sceptile in the active. What is a grass Pokemon? So, oh, there's a nice little card. Energy Retrieval. Gets 2 basic energy from your discard pile. And like I've said, when Mega Sceptile attacks, you get to attach 2 energy or up to 2 energy from your hand to your bench Pokemon. So using energy retrieval allows you to attach those extra energy. And like I've said, some turns what you'll want to do is retreat the Mega Sceptile in order to, pop it on the bench and try and heal it. So you can retreat the Mega Sceptile, discarding the 2 energy, and use that energy retrieval to get both the energy straight back, and then attach them while attacking with a new Mega Sceptile. I suppose it's a similar kind of thing to the way people might stream Mega Manectric EXs. So Patrick here, he didn't get a KO last turn. So the game is... Oh, so he did get a KO last turn. I do apologise. He got the KO last turn. I feel like I should have made more of a fanfare about him getting the KO last turn. Oh, there comes a Twins. He gets to search for any 2 cards. Here's one of the problems with Twins, though. Right now, he needs a Vespiquen. He needs a Combi. He needs an Energy. He needs a double colourless for next turn. Now, I don't... Oh, there is the second Energy. So he's going to get the KO this turn, one would imagine, because he got the KO last turn. And he does play enough Pokemon that he can get 20 Pokemon in the discard pile. Now, Adam, the game is now in Patrick's hands. It's like I pointed out previously. It really does come down to what Adam has and what Patrick has. Adam cannot KO an EX this turn. Patrick doesn't have an EX on the field. Patrick can KO an EX next turn. Now, if you're wondering what has just gone active for Adam, it is a Virizion. And that is a Virizion that some people have been putting into these decks. And it does, for 2 energy, 40 damage. If you've got more prize cards remaining, it does 80 more damage. Now, this isn't going to get a KO on the Vespiquen, but it will get a KO on that benched Combi if he's got a Lysandra here. If he can use a Lysandra to pull up that Combi, he'll get the KO using Virizion. They've got 2 prizes left each, so he doesn't get the big attack. That's a promo Sceptile, by the way. We'll talk about that one later that's just got an energy. Oh, there comes the VS Seeker, so it looks like he's going for Lysandra for the Combi. Oh, very interesting. He's gone for the Drudigan. Now, this isn't going to get the KO here. What it is going to do is basically force Patrick to be able to get the Drudigan out of the active. And the Virizion's active here. So Patrick, next turn, Now, he's got the Vespiquen and he's got the energy, and we see a poison there. What's going to happen here is that in order to win the game now, Patrick needs a switching card and a Lysandra. Oh, there's the VS Seeker for a Lysandra, and he's got, oh, and there is the win. He gets the win. What a comeback from Patrick there. That is just wonderful. So what he did, he attached the DCE to the Drudigan to manually retreat it, used a VS Seeker for the Lysandra to drag an EX off the bench, and then killed it with the Vespiquen that Adam had chosen not to kill the previous turn. Now, that might have been a mistake. What Adam was doing there was playing the odds game. He put Patrick in a position. He needed to be able to switch and have the Lysandra for the win. And we know he'd used 3, I think maybe even 4 VS Seekers. Now, had he just killed the Virizion, then Patrick would have needed a Vespiquen and I believe an energy. I can't remember if Combi had an energy attached, and the Lysandra. So Adam basically, and remember, as I say when I commentate these games, Adam has the ability to look through Patrick's deck that we don't. Adam knows what's in his hand, we don't. So Adam was playing the odds game there. Adam thought it was less likely that Patrick had a way to get the Drudigan out of the active and a Lysandra than he had the Lysandra and a way to get another Vespiquen attacking next turn. It's easy to sit here in hindsight and say Adam made the wrong choice, because obviously Patrick did have a way to get the Drudigan out of the active, but we had no way of knowing that. He played the odds game, he'd had a look through Patrick's deck, and it's probably fair to assume that he made the technically correct play. But as anyone that's been playing this game for any length of time knows, you can make the technically correct play as often as you like. There is a luck factor involved in this game, and the reality is that sometimes you will make the play that is statistically most likely to lead to your victory, and you lose anyway. And that does unfortunately happen sometimes. So, what we saw in that game was, and actually I recorded the intro before I was commentating this game, so I said in the intro it was a good game. I felt a bit bad for saying that. I don't feel bad anymore. That was a very exciting game. And now, what I liked about that game is we've seen what both these decks are going to plan to do. Adam is very much going to sit there, and we see a mulligan there. So Patrick can choose to draw an extra card if he wishes. And Patrick is doing it correctly. The correct way to do it is you count all the mulligans, and then when your opponent has a basic, you can then choose how many mulligans you take and take them all in one go. You are not supposed to take your mulligans one at a time as your opponent mulligans. Common mistake. We've seen what both these decks are going to try and do. Adam's plan is going to be get the Mega Sceptile up, get healing, off we go. Oh, and another mulligan there from Adam. Patrick is basically going to have to play the game and go, okay, I know what the score is here. I need to get 20 Pokemon in my discard as soon as possible. Now, that means I'm going to need to probably bin stuff like my bats and things of that nature, just because I need to get those Pokemon in the discard, and Bronzong's going to be quite helpful. I'm going to try and bin 20 Pokemon as quickly as possible and try and get 3 EX-KOs with my Vespiquen. To that end, I'm probably also going to be trying to conserve my VS Seekers to try and get some KOs on EXs. And he's going to need to try and keep his EXs off the field. One of the very best plays that we saw from Patrick in that previous game was that innocuous turn where he did 30 damage and got his Shaman off the field. By doing that 20 damage and getting his Shaman off the field, he guaranteed that if he could keep up with the EX KOs, and we saw that he did, he guaranteed that he would get the win. He put himself in a position where even though Adam had taken all of the early prizes, what he hadn't done was let Adam actually get ahead in the prize race. And that was absolutely crucial. He put himself in a position where Adam had taken 3 prizes, and yet Patrick could go EXKO, 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 and actually get the win. And that was absolutely key to winning that last game. So really good play from there. Right, I've been ignoring Adam's setup. Let me talk about it now very quickly. Here's what we've got. We have got 3 Sceptiles on the bench, all with Spirit Links attached. We've got an Energy on one of them, and we've got a Shaman in the active and a Shaman on the bench. Now this is exactly what I said. He's using the Battle Compressor, and Patrick is getting rid of those bats. Yeah, those bats are fun. Yeah, you need them. But when you look, and again, I have seen Patrick's deck list. He is playing something like a 4-4-3 bats line. He's playing a heavy bats line. He needs the Bronzong to lighten his reliance on double colorless energy. He needs the Shaman and the Unknown to draw cards and keep up the pressure. I mean, obviously, like I've said, he wants to not use a Shaman, but sometimes he might need to. He needs the Bronzong. He needs a Vespiquen. He needs the Unknown. He needs the Shaman. What does that leave? That leaves the Bats and maybe the Drudigan, because without playing Muscle Band, the Drudigan becomes less useful. Although, if I were him, I would keep 1 Zubat and 1 Golbat, because that, and we see a VS Seeker there to get the Sycamore back. What it lets himself up for is a play where he drops 1 Golbat and then on a Shaman, and then is immediately able to revenge with Drudigan. It's an awkward play. He'll need, the Drudigan, DCE, Golbat, and probably Lysandre in hand in one turn. But point is, he can, using 1 Golbat and a Drudigan, get a 1-hit KO on a Shaman. But like I've said, the space in his deck in this match, but that's what you have to do with these Vespiquen decks a lot. I'm a big Vespiquen fan. I've played it quite a bit. One of the things you have to do with these Vespiquen decks, and he went for a Super Scoop up there, but he hits tail, so he doesn't get the Shaman out of the active. One thing you need to do is you need to be able to react on the fly. You need to be able to go into a game and go, right, in this matchup, I can afford to get rid of, and that becomes the things that you get rid of using a using your Battle Compressor. Now, we see the Forest of Giant Plants in Adam's deck. I was wondering if he ran it, and it looks like he does. And he's getting rid of it with an Ultra Ball. And the reason is this, and I would be genuinely shocked if Adam ever put one of those into play. And the reason is very simple. they are far more useful in this matchup for Patrick than they are for Adam. Adam, yeah, he can use them to get a Mega Sceptile out in one turn, but Patrick can use them to get a Vespiquen out in one turn. And like I've said, not only does Patrick need to be able to get 20 Pokemon in the discard pile, he needs to have a Vespiquen with a double colourless, or 2 metal, every single turn. And that ain't going to be easy, ladies and gentlemen. Like I've said, every turn he needs to have a Vespiquen in the active, at least a Combi on a bench, and the energy. So we did see the first attack there. It does 10 damage. It looks like he hit tails there. Had he hit a heads, then he would have got poison and sleep. But the Bronzor isn't put to the side, so it doesn't look like he is asleep. So we do see the Golbat coming down there doing 20 damage. Again, I would assume he'll keep a Crobat, but I can't say that for certain. So Sycamore comes down, and we do see the Druddigon there. And like I say, I would expect him to keep one Crobat in the deck so that he can go Crobat Druddigon in a pinch late game. Druddigon does 90 damage. I suppose it would KO an Ariados, but that's really not what you're thinking here. You're thinking 3 EX KOs. 90 isn't enough, but 120 is. So, Patrick here, I don't know how many Pokemon he's got in his discard, but he doesn't really have very much here. Now, he is attacking with the Bronzor here, it looks like, which I want to say it does 10 damage. It looks like the Sceptile's got 30 on him now. It's not brilliant, but, you know, it's all right. It's a play. It's not perfect, but it's a play. It's something you can make something out of. Maybe it's, you know, maybe we get down to the point later on where actually that's the difference. I would be surprised, but you never know. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. Sometimes it is really as simple as that. So, Adam here is on turn 2, and he needs to start taking prizes. No, he's on turn 3, because he went first, and Patrick was able to evolve last turn, so this must be Adam's third turn. Now, we do see Lysandra coming up, and we hit head, so we've got sleep and poison. No Megas coming out from Adam here. Does he wake up? It doesn't look like he does. And I think, if I remember correctly, Patrick plays a single copy of AZ. And that is the only switching card he plays in his deck. So what Adam's trying to do here is slow the game down a little bit and put himself in a position where he can take some of these prizes without allowing Patrick to set up. Having said that, we saw what happened in the previous game. What would be a terrible situation for Adam here is if he sits there, slowing the game down for long enough that Patrick is able to just come up then and straight away take 3 EX KOs because he's had enough time to get some Vespiquen in play and he's had enough time to get enough Pokemon in the discard. Having said that, Adam is now 1 prize up and he did get the Mega and he took the KO with the Mega there, did 130. This looks like this might be Patrick's undoing in this game because, you know, he's on maybe his 3rd turn here and he's just used Druddigon to hit for 90. We know that Druddigon's going down this turn. Patrick needs to take 2 KOs for every KO that Adam takes. Adam here, he's going to, and that's exactly the play I mentioned in the previous game. He retreats to discard the energy, and now he can attack with the other Mega Sceptile, attaching energy by doing the attack, putting the energy back on the benched Mega Sceptile, and healing it at the same time. And we do see a Super Scoop up there coming off of a Trainer's Mail. So, Adam's deck is doing what he wants to do. And one thing which is moderately important here is that he's able to go 2 prizes up before Patrick takes a KO. This leaves him for the time being in the driver's seat. Oh, and Patrick's just scooped. And I said that might be his undoing. I didn't think it was going to be quite this fast, if I'm honest. I mean, like I say, I did say that could be his undoing, but I expected him to take at least another moment or two. Excuse me if you heard that sneeze. I tried to use a mute button, but the mute button wasn't working. So, yeah, sorry about that. No mute for you. So, I did say this at the beginning of the first game. Patrick has gone for absolute bare-bones streamlined deck here. He really has. He has gone for as little as he can get away with and then a whole bunch of Pokemon. And he's got 4 Unknown, and he's got, I want to say 4 Shaman, at least 3 Shaman, probably 4 Shaman. But the reality is he's got, I think something like 4 Unknown, 4 Shaman, 4 Juniper, 4 Ultra Ball. And if he can get a Battle Compressor, he's got 4 VS Seeker, so he can Battle Compressor a Juniper and then get it back. The reality is that he might not always set up. He's got about 30-odd Pokemon. There are plenty of hands here that he could draw that are completely dead. In the previous game, I noted he'd had a couple of turns and was struggling to stream those Vespiquen, and he never streamed them. He never got in a position where he was able to stream those Vespiquen, and as quickly as that game started, it was over again. And I think that is a little bit of a problem. I think, now don't get me wrong, he's made it all the way to the final. He must have a moderately consistent deck. What I can tell you is this. Like I say, Patrick was incredibly kind in letting me see his deck list, and I played a few kind of hands with it, and one thing I found was you do get some dead hands. And the problem is, Adam's deck is full-on, proper job consistent. He needs 2 energy. And either a Mega or an Ariados on the bench, stage 1. So, he's going to get going turn after turn after turn after turn after turn. And what that means is, Patrick needs to get set up. Adam is going to sit there and just take 6 prizes. Patrick needs to get 20 Pokemon in the discard, and he needs to stream the Vespiquen, and he needs to have the energy. As soon as Adam gets a couple of Mega Sceptile out, the deck runs itself. You heal, you get to attach as many energy as you like, you're playing a whole bunch of basic energy, you've got energy retrieval, blah, blah, blah. Now, we do see Patrick there using the Battle Compressor VS Seeker trick so that he has a Sycamore to play on his first turn. Looks like he started Zubat, and that's at least 1 Vespiquen in the discard pile, although we know that he does play Sacred Ash. He doesn't really have a backup attacker here other than the Crobats, and is that free Combi on the bench? That's kind of cool, if he can get the Vespiquens out next turn. It looks like we got 1 energy on the Zubat just so we can either retreat it next turn or even attack with it. If he can get Vespiquen and start streaming energy, he's rolling here. But look, he plays a Sycamore, he benches free Combi, he stops. What's in his hand? Does he have a Shaman or an Ultra Ball or a Sycamore or a VS Seeker? Or does he have nothing? Adam here shockingly wants... Oh, there's a Hex Maniac coming down. There will be no... abilities coming on. We saw a... Oh no, we saw a heads on the flip there, and then a heads from Patrick, so he did take 10 damage from the poison. Up goes a Drudigan. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Patrick is leaving a Drudigan in the active to take a couple of hits while he tries to set up. Adam here, if he gets an energy and a Mega, is going to be able to get the KO. Oh, there goes the Sycamore. Mega and an energy, and he should get the KO here. Like, I think Druddigan's got 100. I can't remember exactly. Oh, there's an Ariados out anyway, so he can poison. So he's got the KO on the Druddigan here, I believe. Now, what that's going to mean is Patrick then gets put on a bit of a clock, shall we say. Because he needs to start doing those things, what he does. Just looking up the Druddigan here, it's got 110 HP as I suspected. So yeah, he will have to use the Ariados, but he's got the Ariados. So an Ultra Ball comes down here. He's already got a Mega in the active. He's already got 2 energy on it. He's got the Ariados on the bench. And now we're seeing this game go very similar to the first. Adam takes an early prize lead and nobody really cares. Because Adam is an almost... I know he's got that one Verizian, which he did try and use he tried to use very successfully in the first game. But nobody really cares. This game now, as weird as it sounds, this game isn't about Adam anymore. This game is... This game's going to come down to what Patrick can do. Because if Patrick has 3 Vespiquen in the next 3 turns and 20 Pokemon in the discard pile, and presumably at one point he'll need a Lysandra to, take the last EX prize, he's going to win this game, and there is nothing Adam can do about it. Except maybe, try and stall with Lysandra or something of that nature. But if we look at, Patrick's field... he could maybe put a Bronzong down, but he'll be careful with something like that. So if Patrick can get 3 Vespiquen out here and start getting double colorless in his hand and get, Pokemon in the discard, he will win this game and there's nothing Adam can do about it. Patrick can make sure he never benches a Bronzong to get Lysandra stalled. Patrick can make sure that he never benches a Shaman, which will allow Adam to jump ahead in the prize race. This game, as weird as it sounds, is no longer up to Adam. It's up to Patrick. Because we know that Adam's got a Sceptile in the active with 2 energy. We know he's got a spare on the bench with 2 energy. We know that his deck is consistent enough. He's probably going to get a 3rd if he even needs it. But here's the deal. Takes a lot for Patrick to have all of that. Now, he got it in the first game, but it's far from even likely that he's going to get it in this game. So, Adam here, he's going to take a prize every turn on a non-EX. He's going to do his Fang. He's going to get set up. Oh, he does put down a Forest of Giant Plants so that he can draw more cards with the Shaman. Now, that's interesting, because I'm not entirely convinced he needs that many more cards right now. Oh. That was a brilliant play from Adam there, which I'd completely missed. Again, like I say, I didn't realise he was going for the Hex Maniac there. I didn't realise what was in his discard, his hand, etc. He, like us, he knows that the game is coming down to Patrick and whether Patrick can stream Vespiquen. He's gotten a good look at Patrick's deck. Oh, and we do see a Sycamore coming down there. Now, we have a Combi in the active. We have a DCE attached. Now, we know we've seen 1 Vespiquen go down. Looks like we've got 5, 10, 15, 16. Now, we've got a Combi in the discard pile. Although he does play the Sacred Atom, maybe it's not the end of the world. He's going to need a Vespiquen, and you'd think he'd put it down if he had it by now. Okay, we see an unknown. Oh, and he's got an Ultra Ball. So, okay, he's got it here. He's fine. So, Sycamore energy goes down. That's a lot of resources he's going through. Now, remember, he cannot discard that unknown this turn in order to draw an extra card because Adam played a Hex Maniac. He benches a Shaman. Silly mistake from Patrick there. Benches the Shaman, tries to use setup. Oh, my goodness, that was a huge, I'm sorry to point this out, a gigantic misplay there. He went for the Ultra Ball for the Shaman, benched the Shaman under Hex Maniac, had to burn a double colorless energy retreating the Combi, and we know there's a Combi in the discard pile. So Adam here, he's going to really want to try and get a VS Seeker for Lysandra if he can, or maybe even another Hex Maniac. And that's why that Hex Maniac play on Adam's previous turn was so gosh darn good. because, I mean, he was able to completely screw Patrick over. Now, what Patrick could have done on his turn, you can see from Patrick's body language there, he knows he messed up. He could have used the Ultra Ball to get a Vespiquen, and at the very least, if he couldn't get the KO, he could have retreated for free and not wasted the DCE. But then again, maybe he's got nothing in his hand, and he needed to get the Shaman in order to draw more cards, in order to draw something the subsequent turns. I think the most likely... we just saw a KO there. Now, Patrick has to take an EX KO in the next 3 turns, or he's behind the 8 ball. If he doesn't take an EX KO this turn, he can't win the prize race. If he takes 2 prizes now, Adam takes 1. He takes 2, Adam takes 1. He can then take 2. So he's still, if he can KO an EX a turn, Patrick is still ahead in the prize race. But he's got to take a KO this turn. So we see a VS Seeker coming down for the Sycamore. That's a lot of VS Seekers he's used now. Now we see a double colorless coming down. He's still got those 3 Combies. So this is still a winnable matchup. Now I don't know what he's discarded. Now annoyingly, it looks like, and we see the farewell letters coming, it looks like he did have something without playing that Shaman, because he had a VS Seeker for the Sycamore. So actually last turn he could have used the Ultra Ball to get a Vespiquen. He could then have Sycamore this turn, just as he's done. And it really does look like that was a huge mistake on his part last turn, going for the Shaman. Now, it might be that he top decked, I don't know. It could have been that he top decked the VS Seeker, and that getting the Vespiquen would have been a very risky play. But Adam kind of forced him into the risky play by playing the Hex Maniac. That Hex Maniac looks like... And we got, what, 5, 10, 15. We've got enough. It looks like that Hex Maniac. If Adam wins this game, it's probably because of that Hex Maniac. If he doesn't play the Hex Maniac, Patrick gets the Shaman. Patrick gets to draw more cards. Remember, he had an unknown on the bench last turn. He probably gets the Vespiquen. He maybe gets the KO. He is a turn ahead. Now, let's not forget here, he is still... I know he's not actually, but he is in kind of ahead in the prize race. Now, obviously, what Adam's going to do at some point is, if Patrick goes ahead in prizes, he can use the Verizian to take down a Vespiquen, although that's never actually going to happen, unfortunately. Patrick will only go ahead when he wins the game. So, it's going to come down to these last 2 turns. And then the Patrick has 2 turns left. Oh, that's not promising. Because if he's grabbing the Hooper, that means he probably doesn't have a KO. It also means that's 1 less Lysandre he can use if Adam pops up a Vespiquen to try and screw up the prize trade. It really is as simple as Patrick needs an EXKO this turn and an EXKO on his next turn. He didn't get it. He's had to pass. There goes the super scoop up. It's a heads. Adam gets the KO. Patrick cannot get ahead in the prize race here. And I think it's all over. Yeah. Oh my goodness. He had 2 Vespiquen in the prizes, and he had to get rid of 1 earlier on the Sycamore. So actually, although he made that big mistake with the Shaman, I'm not convinced he actually could have won that game. Having those 2 Vespiquen prized was absolutely huge. So a very entertaining final, befitting of what was an excellent tournament. Thank you to Terry Goodacre for setting up the recording. Thank you to IQ Games for allowing us to record at the tournament. It's gone back to the beginning of the video. You'll get over it. Thank you to Patrick and to Adam for agreeing to be on the stream. I very much appreciate it. And thank you to you lovely people for staying for this long. If you're listening to this, you've watched the whole video, which makes you one of my favourite subscribers to what I believe is a fairly lovely YouTube channel. This is the end of Huddersfield Regional. That was the final. I've got a couple of tournaments in the works, cities and league challenges in both standard and expanded with Breakthrough Legal that I will be going to in the very near future, and I'll be getting some games from them up in the next week or two. My advice to you, check out my other videos. I should have a top 10 of Breakthrough finally coming either end of this week or beginning of next, and then a whole bunch of tournament games. I have made my speciality these commentated games, and there's so many lovely people that will allow me to record. They are gonna keep coming. Click that subscribe button, click that like button, make a comment if you think you've got anything to add, and yeah, I'll be back with more entire games with full commentary very soon indeed. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.